So you don't want to sell your cards to an LGS because they're all scammers. What do you do now? Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today we're going to talk about your options when it comes to selling your cards, whether this be Magic or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever game that you are interested in. These are kind of the lineup and the options for selling cards. And as somebody who buys and sells a metric ton of cards, I've been through a lot on all these platforms. I want to share my thoughts about them. I'm also curious about your thoughts about them. So let me know in the comment section if there's anything that I miss here. First and foremost, your fastest and easiest way to sell a collection will always be to going to a local game store or reaching out to me at KitchenTableTCG@gmail.com if you want to sell your collection, but you do pay a premium for that, right? You do lose out, I guess you lose out on a premium for that because you're not doing the work. The work is the kind of bread and butter of why stores have to charge you less or have to pay you less for your cards, because it does take a lot of work to list and to sell Magic cards or Pokemon cards or whatever. And that's what we're going to get into, the pros and cons of all these lists and these things. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about eBay, TCGplayer, Facebook, Discord, and live streaming. We're going to talk about all those different things and kind of go through the pros and cons. And the first thing that comes to mind whenever selling singles for me is TCGplayer. I would say somewhere around 99%, probably 99.5% of our TCG trading card game singles end up being sold on TCGplayer. Why is that? Well, TCGplayer makes it extremely easy to list the cards. Even if you don't use their software, quick list software, which I always feel like if you are selling cards, one of your goals in life, really your only goal in life in terms of selling cards, should be to get to seller level 4 on TCGplayer, which opens up that TCGplayer quick list software, allows you to scan your cards and then upload the inventory all at once. And the ease of use of TCGplayer is rather amazing. You upload your list, you hit submit, and all your cards are listed. They've done all the work for you in terms of building out your listing, in terms of building out your inventory. You don't need to take pictures. You don't need to do anything from that sort. And so it is the fastest and easiest way to sell your cards. They're also pretty good on terms of like shipping, like the ability to ship. Once you learn the kind of, they're not great. Like I don't want to toot their horn. I do have a TCGplayer affiliate link code if you guys want to use that to help me out on the channel. It's in the description of all my videos. I don't want to toot their horn because they do cut a lot of corners on the shipping side of things. I think they should have a button that allows you to print labels like eBay does. I think that they should have a lot of ease of use things. But once you kind of figure out your own system, it's really not that difficult. I have 3 employees who all help and who have figured that out, and it's been really easy to train them to do that. Once you figure out a system, it can work really, really easily. But TCGplayer wins in this way for 99.95% of our cards because it's really quick to list. It's kind of the handle, kind of the customer service side is all in one place, and it's really, really efficient, okay? And if you're selling a bunch of $1, $3, $5, $10 cards, you don't want to have to go onto eBay and type out each listing, pick up a sold listing, match the price, take pictures of the cards. It takes infinitely longer to do that on eBay. But eBay is really good for your high-end cards. So almost every card above $250 and most slabs we end up selling on eBay. And that's because eBay has the authenticity guarantee. And this is, I cannot state to you guys how amazing eBay's authenticity guarantee is. Essentially, long story short, how this works, any trading card, game card worth more than $250 gets shipped through eBay's authenticity guarantee. So if I list a $250 card, a $260 card Magic card, and you buy it, you pay me, I ship it to the address that it gives me, which is actually, I believe, a CGC, Premier, whatever. The card grading company, CGC, it ships to them, they authenticate it, and then they ship it to you as the buyer. So there is this middleman that happens, and that prevents anybody from ever saying, no, I didn't get the card, or no, this card was not real. So as a seller, there's an amazing amount of protection here because I don't have to worry about it. I ship the card to CGC and then it's no dust off my shoulders. I'm not worried about it. I'm done. You email me saying your card never got there. I say, oh, sorry, deal with it with eBay because it's not my problem. Because my problem was getting the card to CGC, they emailed it to you. And they literally, as soon as the CGC sends it, they completely change the contact between you and the buyer. And you are off the hook if CGC makes a mistake, or if USPS makes a mistake, or if the buyer ends up being a scammer. It is not my problem anymore because CGC shipped the card to the person. And that is an amazing, amazing feat. And I think really good. I don't understand, maybe it's fees, maybe something. I guess I don't understand why TCGplayer, who's owned by eBay, hasn't adopted this, because I don't sell any cards, high-end cards on TCGplayer because of those scams, because of people saying it's a fake card when it's not, or it never got to me when it did. There's so many scams on TCGplayer on that high-end card side. There's no reason not to use eBay. Plus, the person who's buying a $250 Magic card or Pokemon card or whatever probably wants to see a picture of the card. They don't want to just see the TCGplayer listing of that card. So anything over $250 automatically sold on eBay. Really, cards under $150 we sell on TCGplayer. That kind of weird spot between $150 and $250, I don't know what to tell you. I kind of end up selling those cards locally in the store. Occasionally I'll sell them on eBay. Occasionally, if I'm just being lazy, I'll just put them up on TCGplayer. That's kind of a weird zone. There's not a ton of cards in that price point anyway. They're mostly Pokemon cards. And at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is. So high end, 250 over, goes to eBay. Now here's the other side. Oh, this is the other one I forgot, is Facebook and Discord. And man, it's so hard. There's so many ways to sell your card. Facebook and Discord are great. They're great, especially for misprints and weird things and really niche cards or whatever. Signed cards. If you join a Facebook group that is specific to a misprint or specific to signed cards, that's a really great way to sell some of those things that don't move on the other platforms or can't be listed on those platforms. But Facebook and Discord, what I have found is that most people go to those places to avoid the fees from eBay and TCGplayer. This is where I was, early in my selling of cards place too. But at the end of the day, the amount of time that you spend on Facebook and Discord dealing with people's BS is just not worth it. I'm sorry. It's just not, it's not worth it. You list a card, you take the time to type out your post, to post your pictures, to do whatever, and then you have to follow up with this all the freaking time. You have people messaging you and saying they want to buy the card, and then they're like, can I get it 15% cheaper? And then, they're like, well, I can't pay you till next week. And then they're like, well, do you take PayPal, friends and family, or do you pay? They never take the payment. Do you take Cash App? I don't take Cash App. You have PayPal or don't buy cards online. What are you doing? I don't understand why people feel like it's worth the time to sell on Facebook and Discord compared to eBay and TCGplayer, where you don't have to deal with a lot of that kind of drama. Now, if you've been burned on eBay or if you've been burned on TCGplayer, maybe you go to the Facebook groups, you take PayPal, friends and family only, and you don't have to worry about the scams and that kind of stuff. But as a whole, on a larger volume of things, I think Facebook, Discord might be a good place to start if you are getting into this and to learn some of the ropes and that kind of thing. But if you're going to be serious about scaling up, the time and energy that's required to sell things, on social media platforms just isn't worth it. Now, there are some people, particularly in Pokemon, who have amazing Instagram accounts, and they have built a clientele based on their Instagram accounts, their TikTok accounts, or whatever accounts, and they are able to sell stuff. That is different than the average Joe going into the Magic the Gathering sales, marketplace thing and trying to make sales there. So Facebook and Discord have their place, but at some point, I think you have to scale up to one of the other platforms in order to have the efficiency of selling cards without having to deal with people's BS on the internet. The last kind of opportunity to sell cards, we talked about this last time in a video a couple days ago, is live streaming. Things like Whatnot, eBay Live, I think is a thing now, TikTok Live. All these places are really, really, really picking up steam in terms of sales of things. A lot of them are just pack openings, and that's a whole different conversation, a whole different story. But there are people who are selling singles on these marketplaces, and I think this is crazy. The amount of time that you invest to sell singles on a marketplace like that, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. To every night or every 3 nights a week or whatever it is, get your phone out, sit down at your house and stream and expect that somebody's going to come to you and buy something. It just doesn't seem like it's worth the energy. Now, if you're cracking open packs, if you're doing that kind of thing, you're building a following, maybe there is a place for this. I know there's a lot of like random pull box games and stuff like that, but the amount of time that you put into that, in my opinion, is not worth the 10 to 15% fees that you're going to pay. I guess 15% fees that you're going to pay on eBay and TCGplayer. And that's the biggest kind of conversation piece on this. When I am selling singles, the biggest thing I wonder is, how can I save time? When you come to me and you reach out to me at KitchenTableTCG@gmail.com to sell me your singles, the biggest thing you're probably thinking of is, I don't have the time to list these 1,000 cards on TCGplayer and then to ship out these 1,000 cards on TCGplayer, on eBay, or whatever. And time is the biggest important factor of all this. You have to find a way to multiply your energy and your time in selling things. And so you have to kind of find the ways that can do that. And you have to be willing to pay the fees and kind of play the game in order to do that, to multiply your time, to be efficient when you're selling cards. So those are my thoughts on all the different platforms and why to use them and how I have structured kind of my business around those things. I just shipped out 4 cards on eBay. They were, Magic cards that were graded, not all over $250, but most of them were over $250. We use eBay almost every day. We use TCGplayer. We are TCGplayer. We do 200 orders a day. We use my website, Shopify website. We do stuff through there too. Like there's a lot of, I do Facebook, I do Discord. I do a lot of these things for a lot of certain factors. Sometimes I have a card that's worth $1,000 or whatever. Like this happens with sorcery quite often, where I rather have product. I rather just find somebody who wants to move their sealed product for that. So I'll start it off on Facebook or on Discord saying, hey, I pulled this curio. Does anybody have a case of this product that I want to trade? And then after 2 days, if I don't get the hit that I want, I just move on and I sell that on eBay or TCGplayer or whatever I do. And then, I move on and I buy what I want. So there are different ways to utilize all this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I hope you have yourself a fantastic day. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.